listeners to Mutilation 669. It has been quite a while, hasn't it? It's been, I think, a month. Listen, I'm a very busy individual, all right? Not really, but I like to pretend that I'm a very important person doing things. But in all honesty, my ADHD gets in the way. I get focused on other things and it happens. But stay with me now. I'll always come back to the podcast to do episodes. Like, this is not something that I'm just going to stop doing one day completely. Like, I'm going to be 80 years old probably doing this podcast, and I'm probably going to sound exactly the same because, immortal. But anyways, I am back this week for another episode. So this week's episode, it's a short one, but it's gonna be sweet, Shout out to my boy Drew who recommended this week's case study to me. So yeah, episode 14, we're gonna do a case study about a very specific Reddit thread on the surviving infidelity sub. Now, quick disclaimer before people, judge me too quickly. I do not condone cheating in any form, right? Physical, emotional, what have you. Any form is bad, except if you need to cheat in high school, taking calculus because fuck math. So that's the only time that's cheating's allowed, okay? If you want to cheat in your fucking high school classes, go the fuck ahead, because it doesn't matter, guys. At the end of the day, have you retained anything that you've learned in school? Because I haven't, right? Why the fuck were we doing trigonometry? What good is trigonometry to me? I work in an office, okay? There's no math involved. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of crazy because this sub, Surviving Infidelity, has 296,000 members, and that's just horrific, honestly, because that just means a lot of people go through it, and I'm sure you guys listening have went through it, dealt with it, been a victim, seen it. Unfortunately, being loyal, which doesn't take any, I mean, honestly, for me, it doesn't take more effort to be loyal, is just, that should be the standard, right? Girls are like, oh my god, he's such a, I want to husband him because he's so loyal. Girl, that should be just the basic standard, all right? And part of the disclaimer, this is for pure enjoyment, since I'm an instigator of chaos and the mind of the human will always fascinate me. This episode isn't about me. Oh my god, you should cheat on, blah, blah, blah. No. This is such a specific thread, and we're just going to get right into it because I know you guys are judging me already. It's literally, the post is called, "My wife cheated on me with a guy she met on Overwatch." Now pause. God forbid, right? God forbid. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, what do you mean? Listen, what the hell? I out of all, you know what I mean? Like, out of all, I mean, I skimmed the thread, the sub real quick, and it's your typical, like, I met my wife, we got married, 6 months later, it ended up, she was like sexting a whole bunch of guys. Like, it's just typical vanilla shit that you see all the time with people cheating. But these gamer ones, right? This is the catch here, guys, because we're in an era where we're all gamers, right? Back then, if you were a gamer, you were a nerd, all right? You were bullied in school. If you say, "Oh, I love, I don't know, World of Warcraft," "Oh, he's a nerd, he don't get pussy," right? Like, that's, at least me growing up, that's what it was. Like, the gamers were geeks. They never left their houses, and it's foreshadowing because here I am, not leaving my house. Anyways, reeling back in, the post is called, "My wife cheated on me with a guy she met on Overwatch." So this is like a long I think this is a long post. Not really, actually. Let me just pull it up because I just lost it because, this is just who I am. All right? This is my ADHD. Good riddance. Okay. I'm not going to, reveal any of the posters, like usernames, because, I don't know. I kind of feel bad. And it's a public sub, so you can just search it, honestly, if you're that nosy. Anyways, the post reads, I despise Overwatch. My wife and I got married less than a month ago, and she met some guy on Overwatch to play with. I'm not really into Overwatch anymore, so mostly she played with other people, which is fine. I noticed when she came to bed at like 7 a.m., quote, she was up all night playing with this guy. They were texting, and the messages looked like sexting. I eventually went through her messages and found they were sexting, and she sent him nudes. Pause. That's straight up cheating. Right? What the hell? What do you mean? Sexting and sending him nudes, that's cheating. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're doing that to another guy, and you're, sending your poom poom pics, your bahunga pics to some dude on Overwatch. Continuing, the funny thing is, she even mentioned to this guy that she loves her husband, me, so much and doesn't know what she would do if she lost him. And, well, I am destroyed. I removed her from my home, and she went back to her home outside of the US, and I will never see her again. My entire life has been upended and marriage destroyed in a flash. I'm in so much pain. I really wanted to take her back and forgive her, but everything was horrible to read. They talked about hiding the messages from me too and keeping it a secret, but I found out so fast. I don't want to live like this. I know giving a cheater a second chance is never right, but it hurts so horribly to get her out of my home and knowing that I'm never going to see her again, even though I was fully intending on spending the rest of my life with her. Everyone supporting me keeps telling me how lucky I am to discover infidelity this quickly into a marriage, but I don't even care about that. I'm in agony every day. I don't know if I should have given her a second chance. My personal opinion before we deep dive into this case study with these comments. Personally, it sucks, right? Because you marry somebody that you're 100% gonna ride or die with. That's what marriage is supposed to be, at least for me, right? And I get it. People go through divorces. You don't end up that your husband's secretly gay and, sucking guys off on the side. You just never know, right? There's just so much stuff going on. And this is why the human mind baffles me, because there's always a scenario. At the end of the day, though, this post did make me feel like oof, because it is really tragic that, I think this was a long distance relationship to begin with, because I did some deep diving and it ended up, she is from the UK. So yeah, they definitely had a long distance relationship before she moved here to get married. But then I don't think she was doing it for the green card, because the UK and the US, at the end of the day, it's not like a vast difference. There are differences, guys. Don't get me wrong. It's a whole different country. But you know what I mean. Same color, but different shades kind of type shit. But yeah, reading this, it's tragic. If she was sexting and sending him nudes, that is definitely cheating, because... And that's another thing. That's another baffling comment that I just read. When I was doing this case study, that people were saying, oh, it's not technically cheating because nothing was physical. What do you mean? What do you mean? So if you're in a marriage with a dude and you're sending your poom poom pics, wide berth poom poom pics to some sweaty ass neckbeard on Overwatch, right? What the hell? God forbid. That's a sin right there. Well, my 2 cents is, well, thank God this guy's divorcing her because she plays Overwatch. And that alone is a very good reason for divorce, because who the fuck plays Overwatch? All right, let's be real. The game's shit. It's mid. Everybody who plays Overwatch has a mental illness, 100%. And some people are like, oh my God forbid a girl catch a hobby. Well, yeah, the hobby is cheating with Overwatch men and playing Overwatch. Okay, that's not a hobby. That's a sin in the Bible. All right, I rebuke that. The comments in the sub, though, is really the kicker, right? Because you might be thinking, oh my god, this isn't funny. Well, it sort of is. Because this guy literally saved himself from the demons. The demons that possess people to play Overwatch. All right? And I'm not talking about Overwatch in its prime time, okay? Season 1, you know what I'm saying? The first Overwatch before they fucked everything up. No, this is a current post, I believe. This happened 2 days ago. So there you have it. Out of all the games, right? Out of all the fucking games, Overwatch, really? It's Overwatch and Valorant, I think, have like super high mental illness. It's just weird. It just brings in the demographic that are like, you know, the e-girls and the e-boys, and they're all cheating on each other somehow, and they're, you know, I think it's a cult thing, really. I don't know. I might have to do a little case study on that eventually, you know. But the comments, coming back to the comments is what sort of made this my case study reality. So the first comment, like I said, it's out there on Reddit, guys. Just search "my wife cheated on me with the guy on Overwatch." So the comment reads, "I'm going through pretty much the same thing you're going through. Fortnite was the poison that got to my relationship." Oh my god, it's sickening, guys. Like, how, first of all? It's Fortnite. How are you? What is happening? It continues. "I've done a lot of reflection on how my ex-fiance and I got here, including my facilitation of it through things like buying her game accessories or even improving internet to reduce her lag speed." Oh, I love that. What a caring king, honestly. Gaming accessories, you know, even improving the internet so she doesn't lag. Like, that's true love right there. Continuing. "But ultimately, I think that I have a warning for other people. Although the experiences in a game are virtual, the emotions and the bonds are not. When you struggle against an objective and compete it with a team, you literally reinforce the bonds within that team just like you would on a sports team or in an actual conflict. And losses, even though they don't seem to have any significance in the real world, are still experienced as sorrow and provide an opportunity for other people to engage to make somebody feel better." Wow. Fortnite equals a sports. This is what kind of delusional? I don't get it. You know, because this person is basically saying there's emotional bonds that people can create because the game is like a sports team, like a soccer team, right? And we all have to pitch in and play. I don't see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the comments just make it, really. Unfortunately, especially if people are involved in a high-performing game team, you're pretty much letting your partner play with the hot quarterback. Guys, have we fallen so far off the hands of grace to start comparing Fortnite and or high-performing game teams as your partner playing with the hot quarterback? So your girlfriend or wife or whatever's playing Fortnite with a whole bunch of 13-year-olds and they're basically hot quarterbacks. This is what we've come down to, guys. You have somebody that is potentially emotionally vulnerable paired with somebody that has an aggressive tendency, and at least within the game world that makes themselves as appealing as possible. Dude, this is crazy because this is a grown man saying that Fortnite. I'm just baffled, right? When I first got in hold with this case study, I just had to reread it a couple times because I think these people, I hate to say it, you know, but I gotta preach on the podium for a little bit here. A lot of gamers are very insecure. And I think a lot of gamers game in their four walls and don't really leave the house is because, you know, it's an escapism for sure. You know, I game, I get it. You know, it's an escapism. something to, you enjoy, something to take your mind off of. I get that. But this person is saying that if somebody is emotionally invulnerable, aka the woman that I'm assuming, okay, and don't even come after me because that's just how it is. There are aggressive women players out there, but boy, you get a little 13-year-old raging on a game. That's aggressive tendency. So you got a girl emotionally vulnerable paired with a 13-year-old kid who has aggressive tendencies, then boom, the girl's attracted to the 13-year-old. This is what the comment's saying. And it doesn't make any sense. It continues, it's not that big of a deal if it's just casual gaming, but if the game takes over someone's life to the point that it's their life now, that interaction can become more influential than the real world relationships that people are having. See, we gotta, okay, everybody, pause. We all need to go touch grass. We all need to actually form real friendships and platonic relationships and relationships in the real world, because this is what happens. This is what happens when you're chronically online. This is this type of shit that you start to think and it becomes your reality. It's just so crazy. I mean, I get it. Casual gaming. Okay, here's your Sudoku, right? Go play on, I don't know, Minecraft. That's casual. But Fortnite, right? Apparently, if it's taking over your life, right? And those interactions that you have on your game is more influential than real world relationships, you have a problem. You are chronically online and you need to get the fuck off the PC. You need to go touch grass. Go say hi to the barista making your coffee. You need to have real relationships with physical people, all right? And I'm not saying having online friendships and what have you is a bad thing. My two bestest friends on the whole planet, excluding my sister, are friends that I met on a game 10 some years ago when we were all like 15, 16, and we've never met each other, but we're good friends. That's healthy, right? Because we're not, prodding into each other's lives. It's like, I know who they are. I know how they look like. We've, chatted, video chatted, and, we're coming to the point that we do want to see each other in real life, but we're not tied into all the whole, it's only you, me, the three of us against the world, right? We're not going to go touch grass. We're going to just stay at home and play video games all day, all night. And, oh my God, I'm so nervous to go check out at the gas station because I haven't seen a fucking human face for the past 6 months. That becomes an issue, guys. All right. And this is what's happening. The comment continues. So, if someone finds their partner engaged in a game too much, be very, very careful about what they may be doing. Don't just think about the game, but also think about things like Discord, which can allow communications outside the game that you might not be aware of. Understand, too, that from the partner's point of view, game addiction is a real thing. So any attempt to intervene is going to basically trigger a very significant defense reaction, and it's going to be difficult for them not to keep engaging with people that make them feel good. I don't have a good solution to that, other than to not let people start in the first place. If I did, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now, or do I think you would be? So I just hope somebody else can heed the warning. As it stands for me, I've never been a serious gamer, but did enjoy doing things casually, because it was the proximate cause of my relationship failure. I can't even stand to think about it anymore. And so in a time where I need to take my mind off cheating and the split, I don't even have that to use. So, I mean, it is tragic, guys. At the end of the day, bottom line, cheating is bad. If you're in a committed relationship and it's not that bullshit open, polyamorous, blah, 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 just... If you want to entertain other people and not have any strings tied and you just don't want to commit to one person, just be single. How is that so complicated? Especially in this day and age, right? We're not, as a society, we're not expected anymore to hurry up, go to college, buy the house, get married, have babies. Like, we're all like, no, fuck that. College isn't the key to everything. Having kids isn't gonna fix my relationship. You know, we're in a societal, shift where obviously the ways of cheating is getting more advanced, I think. I've seen it firsthand. I've dealt with people online. I'm a gamer, what have you. And a lot of the games that I do play have a social aspect to them. You know, it's not just Fortnite. And I don't even know how these people are cheating. I guess it's like when you're on a team, like that's the thing that like bothers me. It's like, how do you form bonds with people when you're playing Fortnite or Overwatch? He's on B. He's on B. He's on C. Like, how do you get a good personality or read on that person? Oh my god, Winton on the left. Like, is it the voice? Like, is it like girls getting attracted to guys that are e-boys and vice versa? Guys are fiending over girls that have a 13-year-old voice on the game, right? What is this? What is this? This is a mental illness. I think we're creating new issues because cheating back then, right? It was like you go to work and you're having a fling with your coworker in person, right? Now it's like, I guess I'm talking to a guy on the game on Overwatch and he's, going, oh my god, Winton, and you're in love with him and you want to send him your poom poom pics to this random guy. I don't know. It could be a disaster. This might be the downfall of human society because we're not going out anymore as much. Nobody wants to procreate. Everybody's like, oh my god, I want some shmi. I want some poom poom. But, you can't even order a coffee like a normal person. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys, some of you guys out there are socially, there's anxiety out there, and I get that. That's so valid. But you know what I'm saying? We're all just locked inside all the time now. And there's no, you're not talking to real people. Like, yes, the people that you do talk to on Discord and what have you and Messenger, they're real people. But at the end of the day, you don't really know them, right? Like, even if they tell you all these things, it is most likely fabricated, right? It takes years to build trusting relationships. Not romantically, but even just as friendships and platonic. It takes a long time even in person. God forbid you do it online, right? Anyways, there's another comment that is an honorable mention. So this is another guy that replied to the main poster. I keep my game friends 100% separate from my real life. I've been playing with the same two groups of gals and guys, my bad, for like 7 to 8 years, and only my real family knows my real name, and we don't use each other's real names. I don't try to contact with any females outside of the game, and I keep the conversations 100% game related. So that was the comment, and the original poster commented on that comment. This is absolutely important. In the aftermath of my relationship blow up, the guy contacted me a couple of times to try to get under my skin. So the guy whose wife cheated on with Overwatch, that guy that she was sending poom poom pics to, messages him after all this shit went down and is trying to, get under her skin, which is so fucking crazy. Most of the insults were juvenile and clearly just trying to cyberbully. Quote, but he's a loser that doesn't even warrant responding to. Ignoring him pissed him off even more. End quote. But he was able to reference just enough specific information about me, like my occupation or problems that I've had with my ex-wife, that it really gives me a pause and blurs the line about what her involvement was or what people actually think. So, for instance, on first... I don't even know what that means. On first blush, I don't think that her kids told him how much he hated me every day when playing the game. But on the other hand, if he knows that my ex-wife has primary custody of my biological kids and it's such a reoccurrent problem to arrange visitation, then yeah, maybe they do actually hate me that much. I actually don't think my fiance was trying to intentionally hurt me any more than she did when she got caught. She just casually mentioned stuff like that during in-game chats, and over several months at several hours per day, this guy had learned enough about me that it really screwed up in my head. No one should have known the information besides her and our circle of close real friends, and I really worry about what this guy could do when it comes to manipulating her kids that gamed with him. That's so crazy. So, your wife from the UK has 2 kids from you, so how did this even happen? So maybe the relationship was going on for a long time. See, that's another crazy thing. You did long distance. You weren't married. Have 2 kids. Biologically yours. She's telling some random bloke on fucking Overwatch out of all places, venting about her life. First mistake, girls. Do not ever. Okay, men and women, we all have our issues, right? We're all like just messed up in the head, but you really shouldn't just vent to random people, right? Especially if it's like personal information, which I totally get. I try to use like nicknames and aliases online only for that reason. It's just so wild that this guy who was receiving his wife's poom poom pics decided to contact him after the relationship went to shit and started basically shitting on the guy. He said he cyberbullied him, trying to get under his skin. This is so wild, right? Because would this really happen in person? You know, oh shit, like you catch your wife and some dude sexting, but let's try to make this like an IRL situation. You're at a bar and you see your wife with some other dude. You're obviously going to confront him, and you're not going to just take insults. I mean, I'm sure you might fight, but it sounds like this guy just stood there and took it. I mean, it's sad. It is, because I feel like we're more bolder online. We say things that are kind of blasphemous at times, and we don't really think about the repercussions, right? And that's the problem. This is the case study of this week. Don't date guys on Fortnite or Overwatch. Don't date girls that are on Overwatch and Fortnite. Let's add Valorant to this list because they all have mental illnesses. And just start to go outside more, guys. Okay, because there's an issue. If the only means of you trying to like date people are only strictly through online, that's a you problem. I hate to say it, but you need to do some inner reflection here. Because the average person, the average bloke, the average gal you should be able to pick up dates. It might not be like like model types, and that should never be somebody's expectation, you know? The personality is what matters. But you need to go and meet people in person, you know, look at them, talk about things, have some food. Like, that's normal. That's how you bond with people. Bonding online, there's a fine line. There's like weird rules. It's more complicated. It's not normal. You know, and I hate to say it because I do have wonderful relationships and friendships with people that I've met online. My 2 besties, I have really good friends that we all get together and play. But you also need to have IRL. Like real people interactions, make real friendships out there, go on actual dates, because our brains are being plagued now. All right. This isn't just, oh, my husband's cheating on the secretary at work. Done deal. He can't see the kids. It's like these weird online spaces where, things get blurred and, what the fuck? So now not only you have to worry about IRL stuff, you got to worry about the metaverse. Right, you got to think about, oh shit, like what are they doing online? And it's a mess, right? It just adds more anxiety. At the end of the day, the person that you pick, you should be able to trust them 100%. But you know how people are. They're snakes that are really good at masking, But yes, this week's case study, I mean, at the end of the day, what I took from this case study was, yeah, just that. Don't date guys on Overwatch. Don't date girls on Overwatch. Stop it with the freaking what did he say? high performing game teams, right? Because that's what women are appealed to. Guy ragers and shit. All right, let's wake up. This is wild. And you know, before I end the episode, just for shits and giggles, I did search like wife or husband cheated on me on a game, and there's a shit ton. And it's not just they're not just like FPS games, like first person shooter games, like Fortnite, Overwatch, Valorant. You know, and there are people out there who have had successful relationships come out of games. I mean, I've seen it. There's a lot of people who are posting like, I met my husband on, you know, the town of Salem. How the fuck do you even flirt on town of Salem? It's town of Salem. You're trying to find who the fucking murderer is. How do you meet your husband that you've been married to for 3 years on town of Salem? That's powerful, honestly. I'd rather you guys start to make relationships on town of Salem than Overwatch. That's my 2 cents. Anyways, thank you for tuning in on this shorter episode this week on this week's case study on surviving infidelity on games, especially Overwatch and Fortnite. Remember, guys, go out there. Go. You know what? Right now, go to your local coffee shop and order a coffee like a normal person. Okay, that'd be great. Maybe, you know, I'm not really like a big fan of those dating apps, but we're just in a time period where everything's just online now, and I get it. Like, it's sad, but it is what it is. Try to go find some people actually in your area, please. Stop doing this bullshit online. That's all I have to say. That's all. Peace.